Hi, I'm Jared Fossen, and we've got Shannon here with us as well, and coming to you with another Canvas report. And we heard some feedback over the last month that there's a lot of things going on with Canvas, especially as our students might be at home, they might be at school, they might be online, and there's been some difficulty with some grade passback issues. So we brought in some help, and we've got the great Chris Hott from SEDC to help us out with a specific Aspire issue that's going on in grade passback, and she's got the way to help fix that. But we want everybody to stay with us because it's not just about Aspire and grade passback. Shannon has got some great stuff for us, some things on grade passback, but also some great resources for you as a teacher, especially now that we don't have the time to make videos all the time that we need to when we've got a new thing in Canvas, or how do I have my kids on modules. So Shannon's got some great resources for us, for you especially as teachers and for students with Canvas. And then in the end, I'm going to tie this up with a quick look at notifications and announcements and how we can better communicate with students. So we're going to go to the great Chris Hott right now.
Hi, this is Chris Hunt from SEDC. I wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the issues we've been seeing with Aspire Grade Passback. So hopefully these tips that I show you today will resolve some of the issues that you have. So if you've already created your assignment groups in Aspire and imported them into Canvas by using the import assignment groups right here, then you should see those assignment groups. You can tell because they have these little boxes with an arrow. Those are your imported groups. Those are different from groups that you've just made in Canvas. You see there is no arrow right there. The problem is when we have group assignments that we've tagged in here as sync to Aspire, and we can mark that in the assignment itself by clicking the sync to Aspire. But when we do that and we don't put it in the correct assignment group, so you can see these are assignment terms right here, we want to make sure it's in a term assignment group. So if we look back here, we can see this one right here is set to sync. Problem is it's not in an assignment group. So what's going to happen is this one is going to stop the syncing from all of these. So there's two ways that we can fix that. One, you can just drag and drop this in. If you have to move it because you have a lot of assignments and dragging and dropping is a little bit difficult, you can come right here and you can say move to, and then we're going to choose assignments term 1 and we say move. Okay. And now we have that in our assignments term 1. Now this will sync all in that group. So you want to make sure that all of your synced assignments are in one of these synced assignment groups so that Canvas can talk to it.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's really nice to see that example in an active grade book, and hopefully that gave you a better idea of how you can help to troubleshoot yourself if your grades aren't syncing. And again, that was specific to Aspire. So let's talk about where you can find support if you are not using Aspire as your grade book. There is a Canvas community that is honestly fairly overwhelming, to be honest, with the amount of information available there. And it's a happy problem, right? That we have that many resources available to us. But we tried today to cherry pick a couple that would be really relevant to you and hopefully be helpful. So the first one is we're gonna take a look at this page that actually lists all of the grade books that integrate with Canvas, and you'll see all of them that are used here in the state of Utah are listed there. And if your gradebook system is hyperlinked, then you can go ahead and click on that. For instance, if I click on Skyward, I get another page that's full of more hyperlinks with more resources that support me and help me to better understand how I can use Skyward with Canvas. Now, Aspire, you'll notice from that list, is not hyperlinked. We do have one resource in Canvas community for Aspire, and that is related specifically to grade passback. Now, remember, I'm showing you these things here, but they're also going to be linked below. Everything that we talk about will be linked below or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. So you'll be able to access these. Now, you've been using Canvas for long enough now that maybe even if you're a very first year teacher using Canvas, you might be comfortable enough that you're trying things that you haven't previously. And sometimes that means more training for our students, making sure that they know how to use the tools that we want them to use. The good news about that is Canvas has so many tutorials created that are directed for students and how students would interact. So if you up to now have only done assignments, but you've never tried out discussions with your students, there are oodles of guides about discussions. So you could look through and share some of those with your students to help give them a step-by-step of how to interact with discussions. There is also on this other page a list of videos. Now these videos are great overview videos, and you can just post that on your page so that your students have a heads up. So take a minute to look through some of these links in the Canvas community and see if there are resources already created that would take off your plate the need to create some of those tutorials for your students. So know that those are there for you as a resource to make your life easier. Now, Jared is going to tell you a little bit about notifications and announcements.
And Shannon, I just want to mention, I think it's great that you showed those resources, because once kids see where these are at, and they have a problem and they can't figure something out, they'll know where to go to get help on their own. Like they'll be able to do that with teachers showing them that. So I think that's great.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like it's kind of an amazing place when your students have the tools to be able to troubleshoot some of their own issues. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
So let's talk about communicating with students. And right now it's tricky because there are some students, maybe you're seeing them every day. There's some that are strictly online. There's some maybe you're seeing every other day. And so communication's tough right now. And having notifications, I think, is a good way for you to make sure that your students are getting what they need. And one thing that I would add to that is parents can also be notified as well. Remember, in Canvas, they're what's called an observer, and they can set up notifications so that they can, be notified about certain things that happen in your course. So with your students, I would take them to the notification page and I would say, hey, there's 4 ways you can be notified. You can either not get a notification, you can be notified weekly, you can be notified daily, and you can be notified right away. And then I would say there are certain things that as a teacher, I want you to be notified right away of. And one of these is if I make an announcement, especially now because I may not see you every day, or I may not see you at all if you're only online. And so having a way that I can always get information to you when I need to is really important. So I would walk my students through how to set that notification up on announcements to be notified right away when an announcement is made. And I just think it's a key thing in communicating with students. And they can have this set up so that they can receive it as a text message or an email, and they get to pick that. I mean, we don't know what's going to be the best for them. The parents can also select that as well. They can get it as a text or an email. They can decide how many notifications they want to get. And the nice thing is you can always go back and change it. It's not set in stone. So if you find, or your parents or students find that they're getting too many or too few, they can go back and alter that however they need to. And that's another nice thing about notifications. So when it comes to communicating with students, one of the key things is setting these announcements up. Especially if there's information you have to get out to them and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't see my class for another day, or I don't see them at all. And you can't talk to them in person, make an announcement. And then if you've already had that notification set up for them, that they'll be notified right away, then you know that they're going to see that. Now, whether or not they do anything with it, that's out of your hands, but at least you did everything you could to communicate with them. And that's one of the nice things about this setup.
Okay, Jared, thank you so much for sharing some of those tips. I feel like communication is going to be huge always, but especially this year. So just as a summary to wrap up, first of all, we had a great kind of tip from Chris about troubleshooting some of your grade passback issues. We also talked about Canvas Community, where you can find more information about grade passback in a variety of SISs. And then also talking about all of those student tutorials that are created and are there and available for you to use with your students. And then finally, we got some great tips from Jared about notifications and about announcements. So hopefully those are some things that are helpful to you. You can always follow us on Twitter at UEN PD, and we will try our best to post a couple times a month, quick little bite-sized tips and tricks to help you use Canvas more effectively in your classroom. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you again next month.